Thank you. Like she said, I'm Troy Cunningham. I'm your elected official. I'm your sheriff for Bay County. How many are from Bay County in here? Okay, wait, let me do it this way. Who's not from Bay County in here? All right, where are you from?
Saginaw County.
Okay, I won't pick on Saginaw. Was there somebody else? All right, so nobody's from Tuscola? All right, I'll use them today if I have. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a great format like that I stick to. I don't do the PowerPoint stuff and that. I'm here more than anything else for you. What questions you have, what I can answer. I'm running your sheriff department right now. There's about 40 deputies on the road that work for you in the jail. Or I'm sorry, not in the jail. On the road, and then we've got about 40 deputies that work for you up in the jail that keep it. So I've got about, total with the Marine Patrol and everything, about 120 employees we have that work for the county sheriff's office. And I currently am serving, like I said, as your sheriff. I'm gonna pass out my cards. I'll just throw a couple on the table. This is your get out of jail free card. So if you get questions, if there's something, or if there's something that's just embarrassing that you don't want to bring up, I'll start, and we're going to talk more about like your home security, some of the things we can do in our houses to keep it safe. You'll like this part. But I actually teach CPL classes a lot. And some of the stuff, even from teaching the CPL classes that we run, talk about home safety and some of the tips that are in there. I know you know a lot of this, so I'm not going to go through that whole list and bore you with it. But there's some great information in there. Just some things you can do off that checklist just before you're leaving, or if you're going on a trip or vacation or something, just to make your house safer. We talk to a lot of the people that get arrested that are up in the jail and ask them why they committed their crime. And a lot with home invasions and people going into houses is easy target. They said, you know, the national number, it is not a Bay County number, but is 1 in 12 houses get targeted. At least get looked at to see if they want to break into them. The tougher you make it at your house, the more of these security things you do, the better it is. They said they wouldn't go in there. It's opportunity. You know, so we talk about like deadbolts on doors. Deadbolts are pretty inexpensive, and if you can put those on your doors on your house, that's a big thing that deters people from trying to break into your home. Just having those. We had a little while ago, we had an incident with a bad ex-boyfriend that was stalking a girl and had deadbolts inside her house. I don't like them on bathroom doors because of medicals. A lot of time when somebody's not feeling good or having issues, they go into their bathroom and a deadbolt's bad there because they're hard to get into. I mean, it's hard to kick in a door with a deadbolt. We can still do it, but it's a lot tougher. If you have another room that's like a safe room, I say this in all these classes, but a cell phone's never junk. When your cell phone's done working and you went to a newer model or something, those old cell phones you can still plug in, keep them charged, they'll still dial 911. You don't have to have service on that phone for it to call 911. So some people have them and they'll keep them in their basement. How many have landlines still in here? A few. But if you don't, and you don't have phones scattered around your house, you're relying on your cell phone. And if that's in your bedroom or you have it on a nightstand or you have it somewhere, you fall or something happens in another part of your house, it's good to have those, especially downstairs. You got a cell phone or something you can get to. So does that make sense? Yeah. Isn't this better than you thought it was going to be already? But the deadbolts on the doors, like that girl I was talking about that had this problem with her ex-boyfriend, that's what she ended up doing. She called 911, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and then she went and retreated into that room she had her cell phone. She locked the deadbolt just in case somebody got in. It makes you that much safer. It's harder to get to you. Makes sense, right? So deadbolts. Cameras are great. For me, when I was picking up to get cameras, and I'm not selling anything today, I'm just telling you this is just from Troy Cunningham personal experience. There's a brand called Arlo, which is just ARLO. I had to plug it in. Once it's charged, you get about 6 months out of a battery. There's no wires. So you can put them wherever you want to in your house, and they record off motion. And it will either send the image to your computer or to your cell phone if you have one. And you can see if somebody's around your house. And it doesn't cost me anything a month. It records, it's good for 7 days, it keeps it, and I can go back. In 7 days, I'm gonna know if somebody broke into my house. I also have one in my garage that I set on the workbench, because I'm getting older. And I can't tell you how many times I leave to go to work, and I get about 4 blocks away, and I'm like, did I shut my garage door? And I'm forgetting if I did it. You know, and I can just go right on my phone, and I'm like, yep, it's dark, it's down, I'm good. But so it's great for that, and it's great if you got like a basement and you got, you know, a sump pump or something like that. If I'm going away on a trip, I'll put it downstairs because I can turn it on and see if water's overflowing. Again, I'm not selling any brand, but they're easy. The other thing though is bad guys see them. You know, if they come up, they record at night, they record motion. I have one outside on my driveway. My phone dings if somebody comes into my driveway. So it's just one more thing to make your house a little safer. Deadbolts, the cameras. But it blows my mind how much money people will spend to make their house safer with all this stuff. And then park their car in the driveway. All right. And leave it unlocked. Thank you very much. I'm one garage door button away from opening up the whole palace, right? Yeah. So you got to think about that. And the other thing I tell people is even your car keys. I mean, it sounds bad, but I think about this stuff. Even having your car keys with you. If somebody's outside prowling around, or if something happens to you inside the house, not only are you going to piss your neighbors off eventually with that alarm going off, you keep hitting that panic button, eventually people are going to walk over there or see or call us and say, hey, that alarm keeps going off. That's not normal, because you know your neighborhood, right? Okay. I'll come back on some of that, but now that I've got you fully focused on all this, and I'm telling you how we're keeping our house safe, we just started rolling these out countywide. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. But again, if we're saying people are saying they're looking for easy targets, by having this in your window, if a couple of your neighbors or your other people down the road that you know want to put these in their window, my thought is just somebody drives down that road, they might think I'm not home, but when they see this at a couple of the other houses in the neighborhood, they're thinking, they're watching us. And that's all this is. No major obligation, but it's no secret right now, law enforcement across the nation, it's not a Bay County problem, a Michigan problem, we are low on officers. There are just not as many people signing up to be police officers. So this is another way for you to do your part, watching your neighbor's house, and if you see something suspicious, call 911. We had that question earlier about calling the non-emergency number, or anytime you want to talk to me, call. But I'm office hours down there, Monday through Friday usually. If you're calling 911, it's your 911, right? You pay for it. Just like you pay for the services from the sheriff department, you're paying for your services with 911. Don't be afraid to call them. The director from 911, Ryan Gale, does a great job. I've talked to him. He encourages you to call the 911 number. How that works is if she's dispatching for 911, she might be sitting on the county board, sheriff's department, and the state police board answering. She might be sitting, just dispatching calls for the city, and then they've got medical and everything. But there's a bunch of terminals in there, and when that line rings, if she's busy on a call with the city, she'll pick it up. You're fine. Please don't be scared. That is the number one emotion. I cannot stand that feeling of being scared. I hate it. I carry a gun for a living, and I hate being scared. I don't want people that are living in our county to feel scared. We're one phone call away. Dial 911. Let us come if you see something suspicious. My goal is to have them. Beth has some. I'm going to try to get them at most of the township offices, and then we have them at the sheriff's office. If you can't drive, if you can't get one of these or somebody can't, call us. Call me, leave me a message. I'll have a deputy get one out to your house for you. This is important enough to get out there, and it's your way of helping each other. Just neighbors watching neighbors. It's just a big thing. So the other part of that is just With 911 with Colin, they record every single conversation, which is awesome. If something's going on and you got to use your hands or you're locking doors, leave that line open, leave that phone on. All that's being recorded, and it's great. If say you did have somebody break into your house or something like that, or had a medical condition, they're hearing all that and they're relaying it to the police, to the fire, to the ambulances as they're coming your way. They know what's happening, and we know exactly what's going on in that house. So that's why usually they'll tell you to stay communicating with them and stay on the line. Smart 911 is in a lot of the counties. It's in Bay County. If you go into Smart 911 and you sign up, you put whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever you're comfortable with putting in there, whatever information. If you have somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's and you're comfortable with putting a picture of them into 911, when we're responding, if we're driving, they can actually send that picture of that person out to all our in-car computers. Whereas we're coming, we can see if we're going down the road or when we're ways off, if we're coming into this, you can see it. The other thing it'll do, and it happened already with a life save, somebody had a peanut allergy. They couldn't talk. They called 911. They had signed up for Smart 911, which is free, which you can do. And that information was in there so the paramedics knew what they were dealing with before they got there. And the person could not talk. The pinging of the phone is just that. We can triangulate and get pretty darn close to where that call is coming from, and we do it a lot. I'm your sheriff right now, but when I was out in the car patrolling all the time, we are wasting valuable minutes if those houses aren't marked. Because you always have those roads, where is it east or is it west on some of those roads? And you start going and those numbers drop off or they change and you're going, oh my gosh, is this 4 miles back the opposite direction? And if it's a medical or if it's an emergency, just do me the favor, check your house when you go home. And just think, if you're that deputy and you were responding there, is your house easy to find? Those reflective street numbers and stuff like that on your mailbox or something, seconds matter in those emergencies, so it is awesome. And please, if you can do me that favor, mark them up nice and clearly where we can see them. So that takes us to the next part. Neighbor called. First got a call from a bill collector, and they said, this guy pays his bill every single month by the 1st. Always. Hasn't paid. 3 days late. For like 15 years, this guy hasn't missed a payment by the 1st. So it was throwing flags up. Send your deputies out to the house. There happened to be a plate of food that was sitting on the porch that was looking a little rough. What else are we going to check? We're looking for more clues, right? Mailbox. Is mail piling up? Went over to the neighbors. Hey, have you seen your neighbor lately? They said, no, but that's not really unusual. He doesn't come out a lot. Well, his car's in the garage. Yeah, he hasn't driven in about 5 years. That didn't help. What are you going to do right now if you're there? Are you kicking in the door? How many are kicking in the door? Most said kick in the door. Well, now you find out the guy's on a cruise with some girl he just met or something's gone for the weekend. I'm getting that call Monday morning, right? I mean, somebody's buying me a new front door. He wasn't in this situation, and it didn't turn out well. He ended up being passed, and it was almost a week had passed that he had been down for. But in your mind, you got to wonder, are they just hurt? Because if you wait and keep checking and you go too long, dehydration, other things can happen. So it isn't that we just love kicking in doors. We're trusting the people in these neighborhoods that they know when activity is weird, I usually see this or not. And that kind of leads back to the neighborhood watch thing. You're aware of your neighbors. We all got those patterns we follow in those things you're doing. I can come over and it's Sunday morning. They're at church. They go every single Sunday. That's probably where they are. Great information to have. Don't blast the door down. But when we don't know and you're saying, I have noticed, that's not like them to have the grass this long or something like that. It just helps us to do what you want us doing, just to make people more safe and get in there and check on people. where was that? Oh, so now you're in, right? Y'all got in the house. Somebody's down, and we can use like that peanut allergy. They just can't talk. Well, we already looked at the mailbox. We know who it is. Or they're our neighbor. We know who they are. Who do we call?
911. Medical emergency.
You guys fail. I already told you you're all my deputies now. You are 911 at this point.
CPR.
No. Well, CPR, yeah, if somebody's heard of that. But if you had to call somebody, how do you find out? I don't know, Sheriff, what do you think? Oh, wow, look at this. Oh. This is what we look for. In fire had I think it was called Vial of Life, maybe, if you've heard of that. Okay. And that's what these are. It's just a magnet on the back to put on your refrigerator with whatever you're comfortable with writing. If it's simply just one of your family members' phone numbers, maybe or a name or something like that, this just gives us somebody to call who might be able to say, wow, you're at my mom's right now. You know, she's got a peanut allergy. You know, that's what it is. Or, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on, but she's allergic to Vicodin or whatever it is. And that stuff we can get to the first responders as they're coming out just by putting this on your fridge. They make a huge difference. And if you can, I mean, please. Because again, it's not a senior thing. This can be a 20-year-old kid, but if we get in that house, at least we know. And I'm not asking for any personal information, nor will I ever. Whatever you're comfortable with writing on here. The other thing is this, and I tried to get the numbers as small as possible so it's hard to read. Just kidding. I can't do it. Without readers, I can't either. What don't we have anymore? Phone books. So we started making these, and all your deputies in the cars carry these. We used to just take a business card, and we would write down a complaint number on it. Well, you know what? If you lose a loved one, or there's an emergency that happens, half the time you don't even remember us being there. Now what we're doing, instead of doing that with a business card, we're writing our information right on here, the deputy's name, the badge number, your complaint number. And they all carry these just in their shirt pockets, and they give them out. But all the other numbers that are on here are just important numbers for all the little stuff around here that you just don't think about that you might need to call. You know, from fraud complaints to crash reports, prosecutors' numbers, all that kind of stuff where if you've got to follow up on something, that's what's on this card. If you have old drugs, stuff you don't. I had knee surgery years ago. I got Vicodin for it. I took about 3 of those things and I had an allergic reaction to it. Guilty. That stuff sat in my medicine cupboard for probably 2 years before I thought, hey, you know what? You know better than this. Because what we're doing, if that stuff's in those medicine cupboards, and you all know it, because you've all heard it 1,000 times by now, enabling somebody. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a grandkid, a son, a daughter, the person that cleans your house, comes in your house, a neighbor visiting, if they got to use the bathroom, more than likely if they have an addiction, they're opening up that medicine cupboard to look, and they're taking those pills. The sheriff's department, a lot of your pharmacies have it, take-back programs. We don't ask you anything. You walk in, it looks like a red mailbox at the sheriff's department. Open the door, put your pills in there. We ask that you don't bring sharps or liquids, just because it's a little messier. Pharmacies will take those back. If you can't, ask the girls at the counter, and we got an awesome evidence tech that'll take it. There's one guy that takes it, it gets burned off through all the filters so it doesn't hurt the environment. What I don't want you doing is flushing them down the toilet where it's getting into the water stream or something.
Or drinking it.
Yep, or just letting them set, because I'm telling you, you know as well as I know, there's problems right now in the world with these drugs. On the safety stuff, I got a few different little things. I mean, just out walking, these are just show and tell things I bring. This is Amazon, Meijer's, Home Depot, most places you go into, Dunham's. These are just little panic buttons. So if you do a lot of walking and you're out, I found that dogs don't like them because you hold that button, it's a real loud siren sound. But also if somebody's getting around you, somebody's making you nervous, they're inexpensive. It can be on your keychain and it's just an alarm. Same thing though, if you fall in your garage, your yard, your shed, somewhere else around your house if you have one of these. It's almost like the life alerts. You know, if you send it off, as long as you get along with your neighbors, hopefully they'll call us. This is just OC spray, pepper spray, mace. These are awesome. They're small. You can put them in your purse. They're great too if you're walking, dogs, attackers, people. A while back doing this talk though, and I'm the biggest advocate of, I had a guy who was a Saginaw City police officer for a lot of years and retired. And he came up after and he said to me, he goes, I'm embarrassed to say this. He says, but I can't push the button on a revolver anymore with arthritis and stuff in my hands to open the cylinder. And he said, I can't rack a slide on a semi-automatic pistol anymore. What do I do? And you know what I found has been like the greatest thing is wasp or hornet spray. Wasp spray shoots 20 to 25 feet. The only antidote that I'm aware of is the hospital to reverse that blindness. Driving down the road, it may actually get you out of a speeding ticket. You know, because if you've got that on the passenger seat, the cops see it, they're going to be like, oh, must have a wasp problem, probably why they're in a hurry to get home, and give you a warning. None are going to think this is a weapon and draw. You know, if you got a loaded .44 Magnum pistol sitting on the seat, we're going to see that as a threat. But wasp spray, really? And in a lot of the schools, I know my sister bought it for a school that her kids were going to for all the teachers for the classrooms, because we talk so much about like active shooters right now, and those are weapon-free zones and stuff. You know, they don't want to integrate. Well, who's going to question a wasp spray? And even if you're in your backyard and somebody's approaching, you don't know who they are, and you got wasp spray in your hand, they're going to be looking for these wasps, but they're not going to think, wow, she's probably talked to the sheriff and is loading up right. You maybe, but most people, but no. But I just, it's a great thing. It doesn't matter brand, but that is just a great thing to have that you can still push for protection and is easy. Like I say, some of these are amazing too. It's your choice. And I say it all the time, you know, you can't make the White House 100% safe. You know, we got to live in that gray, but there's things you can do to make your house safer. These I like too, cheap, Amazon, wherever. These are seatbelt cutters and window punches. Oh, yeah. And it's so easy. And if you have one of these, put it like on your visor. You know, if you get in a crash, even if you can walk and get away or get out, if that seatbelt's locked up, you're going nowhere. But these are awesome if you have them in your car, because that seatbelt does lock up. And especially you think if you're on your side, if you're in water or something, you may not be able to get out. Take a seatbelt cutter if you got it in the car. Don't just set it somewhere, though, that if the car, you know, you want it like in a visor somewhere semi-secured where you know it is you can get to it. Some people I've seen Velcro them. And most are cruisers, your cruisers, that's what we do. We got Velcro down, and we've got a little bigger hammer one that goes on there. What is suspicious? You know, if somebody's just, today every kid's walking around with a backpack on. You know, before that used to be kind of weird. Nowadays they all got them. So if you see somebody walking down your road with a backpack, they just might be coming back from a buddy's house or something. That's not suspicious. If they're hanging out around her car and it's 11 o'clock at night and you know you're watching them and you know they don't belong in your neighborhood, call. Again, we're low on cars right now. So we have to prioritize. You know, we might have a car going that way, but then if we get a bad wreck or something out on the highway or something happens, we might have to re-divert them. But you're making it on our radar screen where we know. Don't hesitate to call. You know, I don't want you feeling scared. If it makes you scared or if it's making you uncomfortable, please call. That's what we're here for. And I don't care if you got to call 4 times that night. If you keep hearing it and we didn't find it or we didn't see it or nobody's been, stay on that. Because I don't want you going to bed scared. That is a bad feeling. This too, this is loud, and that's low. This just takes batteries. This goes inside your home. This is the sensor for motion. So wherever you put this, there's like, this has like a 400-foot range on it. I mean, if you put this in your backyard or something, it's shooting a beam. If somebody comes in your backyard, as soon as you're going in front of this, that's happening. Kind of, they call them driveway sensors too. They're available at Harbor Freight. They're available at Home Depot, I believe, online obviously. But it also has a little red light that flashes. I like that because I'd rather have you not come in the first place than find out after you're in. You know, I'd rather you see something and think, man, I'm alarmed to the T and keep driving. But if not, if you put a piece of tape over that little flasher, this can be on a stick in your yard shooting across your driveway, and wherever you are in the house, you know if somebody pulled in your driveway. You could take this and put it in your car, because you'll be in your car when you're in your car. That won't. But at home, whoever's there is going to be going nuts because if that's beeping. But if it's parked in your driveway or something, and somebody broke into your car at night even, you would know they were there. A lot of different uses. Make sense? Who's ready for scams? If they claim to be us, this is going to shock you. We don't call you to tell you we're coming to arrest you. We don't make appointments to arrest people. That takes all our tactical advantage away. If they claim, though, but it's such a huge thing. It's a billion-dollar industry that people are getting scammed out of. It is sad. There are people in Bay County that have lost more than their life savings. You know if you put in to win something. You know you have that ticket, and you know there is absolutely no hurry to claim it. You know, if you are part of a club, an organization, a church, a school, whatever it is, you know if you went to something filled out to win that bottle, and you've got a stub, and if they're calling you and they leave you a message or something, you know that's probably legit. Other than that, if it is too good to be true, it probably is. It is a scam.
That's my daughter.
These
Oh,
checks.
the first thing she says.
Yeah, the checks and stuff. You've worked too hard for your money to give it to these people. And the sad thing is, most aren't from our country. So we don't ever get the prosecution portion to this. And it's just, you have to be. And that's where I said, I'll deputize everybody in here right now. You can all be deputies against telemarketers. When they call you, in all seriousness, say that. Say, hey, yeah, this is deputy with whatever your last name is. How can I help you? And then let them know when you get to work tomorrow, you'll check it out. And watch how quick they will swear at you and hang up.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely use that. It is so scary, though, right now. They're spoofing these numbers. And this is just a quick little story. But I had a guy that just got called out for being somewhere on his computer he shouldn't have been. Okay, most have me. Porno, right? And it could be just a pop-up or something that he got involved in. But he had something. Gets a call from Sheriff Troy Cunningham from the Bay County Sheriff's Office that said, I know where you were on your computer, and if you don't want other people to find out, you're going to drive to Walgreens right now and get prepaid Visa cards and give me the number. $4,000 he gave the guy first in prepaid visas. Yep. Then Sheriff Troy Cunningham called him back and said, hey, I'm coming to arrest you if you don't pay me another $4,000. So this time he came down to the department. The scariest thing I've seen, though, is the phone number popping up. Because it came up 989-895-4050.
Oh, really?
Bay County Sheriff Department phone number. So he's now there calling. He was with me, kind of wasn't totally forthcoming on how it started, but we were having this conversation. Phone rings, 989-895-4050. I said, answer that on speaker. And he started talking, and he says, hey, this is Sheriff Troy Cunningham. I'm about a half hour from your home. If you don't wire me another $4,000 or give me the number to those Visa PIN cards, I'm coming to arrest you. I said, I'm sorry, who is this? And he said, this is Sheriff Cunningham. I said, that's really weird. I said, because this is actually Bay County Sheriff Troy Cunningham talking to you. Within a second, he said, sir, it is a felony to impersonate a police officer. I said, thank you very much. It absolutely is. I said, will you please drive down here because I have a cell ready for you just upstairs. I mean, they're getting that good. And what scares me with that, if you Googled that phone number, bang, that's the sheriff's department. You Google who your sheriff is, it's Troy. They're getting that good. And so we have to be better. The police can never ask you for money. There's none of that. None of that happens. Everything is either done with a letter or we just show up. And it's the same with the IRS and all these other scams. That they are just hoping they catch you at a moment of weakness. The other one's your kids, right? Your kids, your grandkids, you've heard that. They're in the back of an ambulance and they're in a bad car crash and you need to wire money to the doctor before he's going to operate? How can that even happen? You know, no doctor is going to be like, yeah, I'll go in there in a minute, but if I don't get paid, he's dying. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know him. I mean, that's absolutely never going to happen, right? How many of you are still writing checks in here, right? How many of you heard of check washing? A couple? So there's a chemical you can get now. So here we go. We're going to put our mail out. How many usually put it out the night before and raise your flag in your mailbox? Nobody does after today. Nobody does after today, right? That's best if you drop it off. But you don't want to put it out there the night before and have the flag up on the mailbox. Because bad guys are out there driving around. They see the flag up. They know there's mail in there. If they go through, let's say it happened. And I got a check to Consumers Energy written out in ballpoint pen. If they buy this, they wash off Consumers Energy. They wash off the dollar amount. I have your signature because you signed the bottom of your check. I then write in, pay to the order of Troy Cunningham, $3,000. And I just took money out of your bank, and you're not going to know about it till Consumers calls and says they didn't get their check, right? So the solution to these are these gel pens, these GO7 pens, because it's gel ink. So if you write your checks out with these, which you can get at all the places I've been saying all day, Home Depot, Meijer's, just about everybody has these gel GO7 Staples, thank you, all those places. Start writing your checks with these gel pens because they can't erase that off there. If you know you're going to be away for a few, because we get it a lot, because like you said, bad guys are looking at that. They know funeral visitation times. They know that house might be empty, even if it's one of your parents because you're not there. Call us and just ask for extra patrol. Just call in the sheriff department and say, hey, I got this funeral coming up. I know you got a lot on your plate already, so I hate making you do that. But if you can have somebody or a family member call and say, hey, could you just watch the house? A lot of times you'll just see a green card in your door or mailbox, and all that means is that this date, this time, a deputy stopped to that location and everything was secure. So same thing if you go on vacation, if you're gone for a while. Yeah, but if you're gone, yeah, the Facebook, social media is the biggest enemy we're fighting. And on that, Bay County Sheriff's Office does not run a scanner page. We do have a Bay County Facebook page. We have a website through the county, but we don't do that scanner feed. And it drives me nuts because here's a shocker for you. There is a Bay County in Florida, and it is a lot more dangerous than ours. Because I will get calls and people will be like, hey, that lady you're looking for from that murder, I think I just saw her come out, and I'm like, what murder? You know, I'm like, where did we have a murder? That one that's been on the news from last week, and I'm like, no, we don't have that many murders. That did not happen up here. And then she'll say like a street name, and I'm like, yeah, that's not in Bay County either. And it's that Bay County, Florida, but sometimes it just gets mixed up on scanners, you know, if you're listening to the wrong one or something like that, and it's coming in. We don't run that stuff, so you guys can grab lunch by all means if you want. I can stay if you want, or I can be out of here right now. Anything else on your minds? If you get something, please don't hesitate. Give me a call. If you had an experience or something, or if you know of something going on, please call me so I can let the deputies know. We're only as good as you make us. So I appreciate any input from you. If there's something I can do, I will.